tiny household task ever spiraled completely out of control? It all started innocently enough. There was this minuscule ding in the living room wall, right behind where the tall bookshelf usually sat. I'd noticed it for months, a barely visible pockmark from some forgotten furniture shuffle. Finally, a Saturday with nothing pressing, I decided it was time. A tube of spackling paste, a small putty knife, and 10 minutes tops. That was the plan. I pulled the bookshelf aside, surveyed the tiny imperfection, and applied a generous blob of spackle. Too generous, I realized instantly. I tried to smooth it out, but the paste, perhaps a bit old, refused to cooperate, creating a lumpy mess instead of a smooth surface. Frustrated, I scraped it off, taking with it a thin layer of drywall that was weaker than I expected. Now the ding was a dime-sized hole, exposing the darker plaster beneath. Annoyed, but still committed, I reapplied a thinner layer, carefully feathering the edges. It seemed to hold, but as I ran my finger over it for smoothness, a small audible crack echoed. A piece of the drywall, about the size of a quarter, detached and fell inside the wall with a soft thud. Curiosity, or perhaps foolish optimism, got the better of me. I poked at the edges of the new opening with my finger. The drywall felt strangely brittle, almost crumbly, as if it had been damp at some point, though there was no water staining. With another gentle prod, a much larger section gave way, revealing a dark, dusty cavity. Now I had a fist-sized hole in my wall and a growing sense of dread. Reaching into the void, I felt around for any obvious pipes or wires. My fingers brushed against something oddly textured, something firm, yet also papery. It definitely wasn't insulation. I pulled it out slowly, hoping it wasn't a live electrical wire or some long-lost petrified rat. What emerged from the wall was not what I expected. It was a perfectly preserved, mummified squirrel, frozen in a squatting position. Its tiny paws clutched to its chest, tail curled. Its fur was dusty and stiff, its eyes like two dark beads. It looked less like a deceased animal and more like a macabre, ancient artifact. The tiny ding was now a gaping portal into the wall, revealing not just a bizarre specimen, but also a deeper, empty space beyond. My quick 10-minute fix had unearthed a rodent crypt. The initial problem, a forgotten ding, felt utterly trivial compared to the mystery of how this tiny, furry time capsule had ended up perfectly preserved inside my living room wall. Now I had two problems, a gaping hole and a mummified squirrel. I decided the patching could wait until I figured out what to do with my unexpected new houseguest, and perhaps more importantly, why my wall was apparently a squirrel mausoleum. Maybe a professional would have answers, and better spackle.